Hello friends, welcome to Savannah Knits, my knitting podcast where I talk all about the things that I'm knitting that are bringing me joy. My name is Savannah and I live in Utah in the United States, and I am a stay-at-home mom and I love to knit and read. And I also like to ask you guys a question of the day so I can get to know you better. And my question for you today is, where is your favorite place to buy yarn? My favorite places are Wool & Company and my local yarn shop called Harmony. Places that you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Savannah Knits. Please feel free to check me out there, send me a message, or you can leave a comment with any questions that you have here on YouTube. I would love to chat with you all. Today we have one finished object, and then I have a lot of whips to update you on. Usually I am a mostly monogamous knitter. I have a couple projects at one time, but I usually focus on just one. And the past 2 weeks I have been pretty split between these 4 works in progress, which is new for me. I don't know if it's just a summer thing or just what my brain needs right now. Not sure. So I feel like my whips are battling it out a little bit, and I can't wait to show you all of them. So first of all, let's talk about my finished object, which is what I'm wearing. This is the Avenue Tee by Tori Yu. I knit a size 4 and I use 3.5 millimeter needles for the body and then 2.75 millimeter needles for all of the ribbing. I used Woolly Mama Yarns 4-ply merino sock in the color Darling. For this tee, it is a fingering weight sock yarn, and I really just wanted a pink yarn with speckles in it for a tee for this summer. That was my vision from like months ago, and so I bought this yarn specifically to cast on a summer tee. And I really liked the Avenue Tee that it had 2 options. It has a crew neck option and a v-neck option. I chose the v-neck option. Obviously I really like the way v-necks just feel more summery to me. They're more open and breathable, and I like how they look on me, so I chose the v-neck. I did alternate skeins for this tee just to make sure that the speckles were as evenly distributed as possible, and I feel like that turned out okay. There is a little bit of, you can kind of tell where the line is when I alternated skeins, because I also realized that alternating skeins and helical knitting are 2 separate things. Helical knitting has a different technique. Alternating skeins is kind of like intarsia, where you just flip the yarn skeins over one another to catch the previous ball of yarn and then work with that one, and then when you get to the end of the row you do that again. So I do feel like you can kind of see a line of where I alternated them, but it's not super noticeable. It's on the side, so I'm okay with it. But I do need to figure out in the future how to do that better. I think it's just showing up more in a fingering weight garment. I also think that this gauge is a little bit more open, so that's why it's also showing that line there, but not a huge deal to me. As for modifications that I made to this, I added 2.5 inches to the body, which I was not expecting that I would have to do, but I think it was just a cropped tee and I didn't realize that it was a cropped tee, so I added length for my own personal preference. And then I shortened a lot of length, I think, on the sleeves. So I don't know what's happening with the proportions here, but works out for me. I only did, I think, 13 rows before I then did the ribbing for the sleeves, and I like where they are at. I also really like the construction of this tee. It's kind of like a raglan. I think it's called a contiguous shoulder, and it has some cool like detailing right here. If I can get my hair out of the way, just this line right here before it splits into the sleeve. I do feel like it is not the best fitting tee I have ever made. I find that after a week or so of wearing this these where I picked up for the ribbing is bunching up here, and it just kind of rides up on my neck, and it would look better if it was more like pulled down. And so I wonder if that's a yarn choice. Maybe my yarn is just too thin and too drapey and not heavy enough to kind of pull this down so that it lays flat. It also could be blocking. Maybe I didn't block it correctly. I'm not sure, but I do find that that bothers me a little bit. Just as I'm wearing, like right now, it looks flat, it looks fine. And then as I move my arms around and whatever, it starts bunching up and the ribbing kind of folds in under itself. I think that that also could be an issue with the ribbing being so short there. I'm not sure, and I'm not really looking to fix it. I don't think I would not look forward to coming back to fixing this. In general, once a project is done, I just want it to be done. I don't want to go back and fix it. I find it hard to motivate myself to fix it. So I think I'll just deal with it. I also feel like this line that I showed you earlier with the contiguous construction sits on kind of the back instead of the top of my shoulder right here, and I'm not sure where it's supposed to sit, but I would assume that it's supposed to sit on top. And so I continually, try to pull it down so it is sitting on top, but then it automatically goes to the back. So I'm not sure about the fit. I'm not sure if the fit is my fault with something that I did, or if that's just how the tee is supposed to fit. It also could be that I am also more curvy than the designer, so I don't know if she accounted for that. I mean, I'm sure that she did because she had test knitters and graded it and everything. But I don't know, just some things that I'm thinking about of why this tee isn't fitting super perfectly. And if I had to guess, I think it's because of my yarn. I think if I had a heavier yarn, it would pull down a little bit more. And because this tee really is super lightweight, and so maybe that's just why it's not laying flat and not laying where it's supposed to lay. Other than the neckline and the shoulders, I do think it fits really well. I like the amount of positive ease that I have. I think I only have like a couple inches, and I really like the length of the sleeves and the body, and I do love the color and the speckles. I think it's a very fun and playful tee for the spring and summer. So overall, I do really like this project. I like the tee and I have been wearing it. It's just those little things that are a little bit annoying, but I don't think that they would stop me from wearing this tee. So overall, a successful project, I would say. I started this tee on May 24th and finished it on June 12th. So it took me only 2 weeks and 5 days. Let's get into my whips, shall we? The last time we talked, I was trying to decide which tee to cast on next, and there was a stockinette version and a colorwork, and I decided to do the colorwork. I needed something different for my brain. I've also had the yarn in stash for this project for longer, and so I wanted to get it out sooner. So I decided to cast on something from this book. It's Lakeside Stitches by Rania Hakaleto. I have so many patterns in my queue from this book because it's not often that in knitting books I want to knit every pattern or like every pattern speaks to me, but in this book I love almost all of them. And so I would love to just keep making more patterns in this book. This is actually the second pattern I have made from this book this year. So I decided to cast on the Lumo, which is a round yoke colorwork tee. I think it's very beautiful, and I have nothing like it in my closet, so that's why I wanted to do it. Also missed colorwork. It's been a long time since I did colorwork. So I have done this much. I am using Knitting for Olive Merino, and the colors, the blue is Blue Tit, the white or the grayish white is Marzipan, and then the brown is Ochre Brown. So I'm using the same colors as she is using. I'm just using the navy blue color for the main color instead of the brown. because I have had this one in stash, and yeah, it was a good amount for this project. I am loving the color work. I think it's really beautiful, very easy, and also with a round yoke. So this is my second time doing a round yoke construction. My first time was without color work, and it was hard to keep track of the increases for me because on a round yoke you're interspersing the increases, so you can't see any patterns or lines to it. Like a raglan, you can see where the increases are. They make those lines. But with a round yoke, you're interspersing them, so you can't see exactly where those increases are. And sometimes it's hard for me to count that many stitches to make sure I'm increasing at an even rate for those rows. But with a color work chart, you're just repeating the same color work pattern, the color work motif in a row, and so it's really easy to know when to increase for that. So I think in the future for round yokes, I really just want to do color work for your round yoke just because of the ease of adding in those increases and keeping track of the color work. It's just easy to do it all at once. For this pattern, it is a pretty bare bones pattern, not super, but she doesn't tell you what kind of cast on to do. You kind of just have to decide for yourself. And I was looking at the pattern photos and it looks like she did a tubular cast on. So that is what I did right here. Tubular cast ons aren't my favorite thing to do. They are difficult, but it's getting easier the more I do it, and I really think it's worth it because of how clean it looks. So I'm happy that I took the time to do that. Nothing much more to say on this. It has taken a bit of it's been a bit of a background project just because this next one that I'm about to show you I've been working on a bit more. But I have a feeling that I'm going to be working on this a lot more in the next couple weeks. So hopefully I'll be able to finish the color work. I started this on June 13th, so I have been working on it for 2 weeks. The next thing that I am making is the Pua Poa beach swimsuit cover-up. This is a crochet project. I have never done a crochet garment before. I have done crochet since I was 9, but I really wanted a beach cover-up. I've been loving seeing other people crochet or knit some lacy open knit or open crochet beach cover-ups, and I wanted one too. So I found this pattern. It is by Lindsay Rowe. It's a free pattern if you look at it from her website. She also does a paid version that has a little bit more information, I think, with the schematics and things like that, but I decided to just try the free pattern and see if I could figure it out. I am making a size large, and I am using Lion brand Pima cotton in the color vintage, and I'm using a 5mm hook. And I will show you. So the way this is constructed is you make 2 large panels like this, and this is basically the left or the right side of the cover up. So it goes like this. You have the front and the back in one panel. Then you make another one, and then you seam the front, seam the back, and then seam the edges under the armhole to make the armhole. So it is a very, very simple, easy thing to crochet. You're just doing the same thing over and over with this kind of open stitch here. And so it's easy for me to jump back in, having not done crochet for a couple years. So I was happy about that. However, I did have to start this over so many times because I am not used to measuring gauge in crochet, and she has you start with, just because this is a free pattern, I can give details. She starts you off with just a row of double crochet, and then she has you do the open stitch. And I was just having a hard time finding gauge for this and how to measure gauge. And so I was trying to do different needles, and I had to restart so many times. But I finally found the needle that worked. I think it's a size down from what I asked for. And then I also just wanted to make sure I got the length right, because I didn't want it to be overly long or short. And when you're doing the row of just the double crochet, it looks a lot shorter. No, it looks a lot longer, but then when you add in this lace, it kind of shrinks in this row of double crochet, if that makes sense. And so I just had to trust the pattern, and I don't know why I wasn't trusting the pattern, but I thought that it would be like too long, and so I was trying to do it shorter. Anyways, I just had to start over so many times, and I kind of wasted a lot of time doing that, but that's okay. Got it in the end. It's going great. So I have finished one panel of this cover up, and then I started the second panel, and I am so close to being done. I am on my last row, which is just the decrease row up here. The thing with this project is that she has the yarn recommendations that you need. I have had to buy yarn 3 times for this project, and I keep underestimating how much yarn I need to finish it, and it calls for 5 balls for my size, for a size large, and I'm going to need 8. So that is quite a big difference. I don't know why there's such a big difference, because I'm hitting gauge as far as I can tell. I am following the pattern with the numbers and how many rows and like how thick to make the panels and everything. So I don't know why I'm using so much more yarn than it calls for, but I'm a little bit frustrated because I have to keep waiting for it to come. And this last one, I just need 1 more ball of yarn. I just need to finish this row, and then I need enough to make the tie and sew the cover up together. And that's all I need. I just need that 1 ball, and it's been taking a week to get here. So if I had enough yarn, I would have had this finished, but that's okay. It'll be finished. It'll be finished in time for me to get some good use out of it for the rest of the summer. But that has been a little bit frustrating and just a little bit confusing on why I'm using so much yarn, because I know that crochet uses more yarn than knitting, but I thought that if I would follow the pattern, I would have enough yarn. I also think that this Pima cotton that I'm using from Lion Brand, it is a very nice cotton yarn. It's very soft, and I really like working with it, but it is expensive, and with it being 5 balls, I was perfectly fine to pay the $35. But with it being 8 balls now, it's turning into $50 or $60, which is something that I didn't really want to pay that much for this cover up. It's fine now because I think it'll be great, and I've already started and I'm not gonna go back. But if I knew that it was going to need 8 balls, I think I would have chosen a cheaper cotton to do with this cover up, because to be honest with you, I do not go swimming often. I think I would only wear this cover up maybe 4 or 5 times a year, which maybe is a lot for some people, but that's like at the most I would be using it. So yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be great once it's done, and I am really happy with how it is at the moment. And it is a really nice that it's a free pattern. She also has a video tutorial on YouTube as well, which I found really helpful jumping back into crochet. So I started this on June 14th, and I have been working on it for 1 week and 5 days. And once I get that last ball of yarn, which should come tomorrow, I should have this finished within a day or 2. So I'm excited to show you the finished project next time. My last 2 works in progress are blanket whips. I have been working on blankets for some reason. I don't know why I've been working on blankets in the summer, but with the colorwork project and then with waiting for yarn for the cover up, I have been just needing some mindless stockinette to do sometimes, and so I have been making progress on my blankets, and I thought I would do a quick update and show you. So the first one is the Sweet Shop blanket by Laura Penrose. I'm using a 4mm needle, using scraps of variegated yarn that I have, usually from sock leftovers. And then for the main color, I'm using Drops Fiesta in Off-White. And I have added these 2 squares on top. This yellow is Love Story from Ruby and Roses. And this one is from Long Dog Yarns. And so now I have 6 squares. It's looking really good. And now I'll just keep adding 3 more to here and then, yeah, keep adding to it. I have been working on this project for, let's see, 4 months. So it's a slow one, guys. But I do really like how it's adding in all of these variegated yarn scraps that are just have good memories of knitting socks from them, and I like seeing them all in a blanket. So I will just keep slowly adding to this as I finish variegated socks. I only have 1 more variegated color to do before I'm caught up. So I could either start repeating these or wait until I knit some more socks and then I can add some more colors in. The next blanket whip I want to show you is from Unravelled. They sent me a essential blanket kit to try out. I've talked about them before. And I just wanted to update you because I am now halfway through this blanket and I am proud of myself. I'm using the yarn that they sent me. It is their Uno yarn, and the kit colorway is Vitality. So it's a dark gray, a light gray, and a mustard yellow. And I'm using a 5.5mm needle, these Chiaogu wooden needles that they sent me. And I am exactly halfway. I have finished 6 balls of yarn. So I wanted to show you what halfway is looking like. I do really like the color blocking. I think it looks cool. It's very squishy and soft, and the garter stitch looks really nice with the yarn. And if this is halfway, it is definitely going to be a smaller throw blanket, but I think it's a perfect lap blanket for reading. So I go to a reading retreat with a friend every fall, and we just go to a chalet and we read and get cozy, and she thought that this would be the perfect blanket for that trip. So I kind of want to try to finish this before that trip. And if I keep knitting as often as I am on this, I think I could, because I have been working on this for almost 2 months now, and our retreat is in October, so I definitely have some time to knit this. And I have been working on this a lot as I have been waiting for the Coverup yarn to come. Whenever I have to wait again, which this is the 3rd time that I've had to wait for yarn to come, I just work on this for a couple days, so it's been nice to get some rows in, get this going. I'm really, really excited to get to the mustard yellow because I'm kind of sick of knitting so much gray. The gray looks really nice though, and I think I would get really sick of the mustard yellow if I had to knit a whole blanket in mustard yellow. But I'm excited for just a little bit of color with this blanket. So I have 2 more balls of the light gray, then I can do the yellow. And I think then I will really fly on this blanket because I'll feel like I'm close to the end. It'll be fun to knit in a color and hopefully have that finished by October. I feel like I went through those whips really fast, but I also feel like I talked about everything that needed to be talked about. So yeah, that's all of my whips, but I do have a couple of acquisitions to talk about. Knit Picks had their $2, $4, $6 sale, and I am a sucker for that sale. So I did get 2 things, 2 sweater quantities of things. The first thing I got was Knit Picks Aloft, which is their mohair, and I've been really wanting to try their mohair because I've heard mixed things about it. Of course, with mohair, it's always mixed of what people can tolerate and when they can't. It's a very personal thing, so I wanted to see for myself if I like this because it is a very affordable mohair. And just my first impressions is that I like it better than the Drops mohair just because it feels like it's less hairy. It feels more close to the strand and like less of a halo, but there is still like a really nice halo. It's also quite soft. I feel like just from right now, I think I would be able to wear it. I find the Drops mohair to be a little bit scratchy and itchy. Not enough to not be able to wear it, but enough that I can feel it a little bit prickly. So I'm excited to try this. This is the colorway Silver. I got it for a yarn that I already have, but that gray is more of a brownish gray, and so I don't think that this will work because this is a cool toned gray. So I think I'll have to maybe buy some cooler toned gray yarn in the future to go with this mohair, but I am totally fine with that. I think I'm not the hugest mohair fan, but I think it would be really nice to have a very cute, kind of oversized, fuzzy gray sweater. So I am totally fine using mohair for this because it fits with my vision. I also think that it's kind of like girl math, kind of smart to buy the mohair and the merino separate, because obviously mohair adds so much cost to a project, and it just makes more sense to split those costs apart so you don't have to buy it all at once. I don't know, it makes me feel better about it. So I'm totally fine to sit on this for a bit until I find the perfect gray yarn to match with it. I have some sweaters in mind, but I'm going to wait until one calls to me, or maybe there will be a new pattern that comes out this fall that I just want to cast on right away and try it out. The second thing I got was their Cotlin, which is a mix of cotton and linen. And this is the color Wallaby, which is a brownish grayish color. I really like it. I have been closely following Ozetta and her clay tee that will be coming out hopefully soon. I know her testers are working on it right now. I love her clay sweater, and so when she just announced that she was doing a clay tee, I liked the tee even more, and so I definitely want to make that this year. I love, love, love the texture of it, and I think this yarn will be perfect for it. I'm very excited for that tee to come out. So hopefully all my projects will align and I'll be finishing a tee right as that tee comes out. Although I did say this about the Lusk a couple weeks ago. I was saying that I was so excited for the Lusk to come out by the Crayabea so I could cast on right away, and then it came and I did not cast on right away. I casted on the Lumo instead, the colorwork tee that I showed earlier. So I say these things, but really I am a mood knitter, and so I just have to go with my mood. But hopefully when the clay tee comes out, I will be in the mood to cast it on. So all in all, these two were very, very affordable because of the sale, and so I'm really, really happy that I got them. And yeah, I think that they're fulfilling a need in my stash that I don't have, and that things that I'm excited about, obviously. I also got 2 new project bags. It's been a little bit spendy. So the first one is by the Athenian Maker. She makes these bags with natural dyes and natural fabric, and then she uses leaves to stencil them, if that's the right word. So I got this project bag from her. So those are real leaves that she like pressed on and then used the dye to make them show up, which I think is so, so cool. And I like that every bag she makes is unique, because no leaf is the same, right? It's cool. I think that it's really cool to have a unique bag. It's very high quality. It has some very sturdy ropes, drawstring closure. It has pockets on the inside, and one of the pockets has a button that you can close it with. It has this nice strap, and it can hold a large project. So I'm really, really happy with this. I have been wanting a unique project bag for a while now. I don't have a large one that's like homemade, and so I was really excited to get this one. It was a little bit of a splurge, but I highly recommend because the quality seems fantastic. The next project bag I got is from Amazon, but I have a similar bag to this and it's teal, but I wanted a new color, and I wanted another one so that I could put my blanket in my teal one. And now I have this lovely cream one for basically my main sweater or tee projects is what this bag will be. So it's holding my Lumo tee right now. I really like these bags from Amazon. There's so many different brands that do the same exact style. This just happens to be Hearth and Harbor. It has a stiff bottom, so it just sits flat on the ground, which I really love, especially for color work, so it makes sure that my balls of yarn don't get all tangled in there. It has tons of pockets on the inside. This version has tons of pockets on the inside, so you could technically have a ball of yarn in each pocket, or even just needles or anything else you need for your project. And it has an adjustable strap that you can do it like this or make it way longer. I just love these bags, and so I'm really happy that I got the cream version. Kind of matches the color scheme of my life, which is mostly creams and beiges, but you know, pops of color too. So I am very, very happy that I got that bag as well. Those are all my acquisitions. A quick reading and watching update if you're interested. I haven't been watching anything. I've mostly been doing audiobooks and then YouTube podcasts or the variety actors on actors interviews. I really like that. But as for reading, 2 books that I've enjoyed in the past 2 weeks, I read Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood, and that one was just very fun and enjoyable, and I did really like the age gap romance in there. It didn't feel cringy at all to me, and it just was perfect setting too, with Sicily and Italy, and it was very funny, very witty banter. I enjoyed it and laughed out loud a lot. The other book I read was a little bit of an opposite vibe. It's My Next Breath by Jeremy Renner, which is his memoir, his story about his accident that he was in and his recovery, and I found it to be really inspiring and moving, and my expectations weren't high for this, but I definitely binged the audio so quickly. It was so fascinating, and it really made me look at life differently after I finished it. So I highly recommend that one if you're looking for a good audiobook. He also reads it himself, which I think adds to the fun of listening to it. That is all from me today. I hope you guys are knitting what is bringing you joy. If you enjoyed today, don't forget to subscribe if you would like, and like this video and leave me a comment. I respond to all of the comments and I love chatting with you guys, getting to know you guys. I also have a Discord and Ravelry group linked in my description below if you want to chat more. I'd love to have you on there. Otherwise, I will see you guys next time. Bye.